Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Full Force News Burst, brought to you by GeneralsJoes.com, with me as your host, Chris Hasbrony McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80. On this instalment of yet another interesting kind of burst, I am joined by Justin Hector Rimirez Bell to discuss the story that Hasbro will be opening family entertainment centres across the US and Canada, and we have an update to the story about Hasbro moving out of Pawtucket that we discussed last week. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this news burst. Hasbro have formed a licensing pact with Kilburn Live to create, build and operate Hasbro-themed indoor family entertainment centres across the US and Canada, which will bring the company's iconic brands to life with, and I'm using quotes here, interactive, immersive and innovative entertainment experiences in a high-energy, gamified environment with multiple activity zones. SVP and GM Hasbro Consumer Products Casey Collins went on to say, Hasbro is committed to creating the world's best play experiences. In our 95-year history, Hasbro has transcended the toy aisle to become a lifestyle brand that both kids and adults enjoy. Our partnership with Kilburn will allow us, for the first time ever, to offer a wholly immersive and true play experience that unlocks a totally new and exciting way for fans to experience the Hasbro family of brands. More importantly, and related to us as a community, were the brands mentioned in the lineup for these centres: My Little Pony, Monopoly, Mr. Potato Head, Clue, Battleship, Hungry Hungry Hippos, Trivial Pursuit, Chutes and Ladders, and G.I. Joe. Transformers won't be involved due to being part of the Universal Theme Parks brand, and Power Rangers could see inclusion in the future. So Justin, initial thoughts, is this out of left field? Desperate attempts at evolving the company into the future, or is it just Red Rocket's glare all over again?
I wish I could tell you, but I have no idea what they're talking about. There's so many buzzwords in this article, I don't even know what this is. It's an indoor amusement park? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Let's bust this down.
Like one of those escape rooms or something?
Well, I think that might be in there, something like that. So You've got interactive, immersive, innovative entertainment experiences, right? So obviously,
it sounds like laser tag or something.
It does. It sounds
laser
like,
tag.
Yeah, like Nerf arenas, I'd imagine. Like the stuff that we saw at HasCon, where they had that kind of layout. I think something like that. And then obviously like kind of gaming experiences and VR stuff, possibly. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe how like Toys R Us were trying to kind of get people back in during as they were kind of falling off the earth. But didn't fall very...
grabbing for the ledge while they were like 30 feet down already.
Exactly. Weighed down by all that money. I think that it was going to be, obviously you want it to be bigger than what they were planning, because it was just kind of a couple of things in store. This seems much, much bigger, doesn't it? It seems like the high-energy, gamified environment with multiple activity zones. Sounds amazing.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, depending on kind of what they're doing with it, but I mean, it's certainly an interesting idea. I think it sounds fantastic. I'd probably be a little bit happier about it if this new expensive initiative didn't come less than a month after they just laid off 10% of their workforce.
Exactly.
But it's still just looking at the activity stuff itself, it sounds like something I would have loved as a kid, and maybe
probably will as an adult.
No kidding. I'd probably dig it now too. Yeah.
No, totally. And I mean, this must be quite of interest to you, being a family man as well. I mean, the kids would probably be kind of up for this, wouldn't they? Yeah,
I mean, the 13-year-old maybe not so much, but the 9-year-old is right in the sweet spot. I think. I bet she'd have a blast at something like this. I mean, she was angry enough that I didn't take her to HasCon last year, and this sounds like it's kind of the most interactive parts of HasCon kind of rolled into one. And it wouldn't surprise me, folks who did go to HasCon, I bet you see kind of that there was that row where you actually played in the board games, like where you had the pie in the face thing, where that you were part of the game. And I bet you that's kind of some of what they're going to be including too. And that was pretty fun stuff. And I bet you the kids would really enjoy that. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the popularity of that at HasCon might have driven part of this further conversation. Who knows?
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds a massive endeavor. If these are going across the US and Canada, then this is quite a big rollout. So there's obviously going to be a few. We don't obviously know. We don't at this stage know how many there are going to be. We just know that Hasbro and Kilburn, I suppose that it's called Kilburn Media, Kilburn Live. They've basically put pen to paper to create this licensing pact. So Kilburn Live will obviously be the ones doing the heavy lifting, it would appear.
Yeah, and that could kind of ease the burden of cost and resources a little bit on Hasbro's side too. If you're talking about all the people that just got laid off, if it's a licensing deal and Kilburn's really doing the majority of the heavy lifting and Hasbro gets a licensing kickback out of it as well, then maybe it works out pretty well for them financially. So that might not be such a stretch. It's
a shame that Transformers can't be involved because of the Universal theme parks kind of connection. But right. I mean, there are a lot of other brands in there, and let's focus on the main one, obviously for us, G.I. Joe. I mean, how do you think G.I. Joe is going to be implemented into this? Do you think it's going to be a situation of kind of the Nerf-based stuff? Do you think it's going to be tied in with the Snake Eyes movie?
Oh, I'm sure there's probably going to be some of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, it would. Yeah, it's going to be. I would imagine some kind of Nerf, either a target range or something, or maybe laser tag, like we said before, something along those lines, or maybe some kind of martial arts, the next, what is the American Ninja or whatever,
American Ninja course,
Warrior. Maybe that type of Ninja Warrior sort of thing.
Can you imagine? Oh, that would be sweet, wouldn't it? Like American Ninja Warrior
temples and stuff. Yeah.
Don't like the in the Retaliation movie. The only decent thing in it when the Snake Eyes and Jinx are evading the Red Ninjas through the mountains and stuff like that. Imagine that going on.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, it would probably be more ninja-oriented, I would think, than military-oriented. But either way, they could have some fun stuff with it.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. There's not much else to really talk about at the moment with it. But again, there's an excitement, I think, around this. It just kind of popped up again out of nowhere, this story. I saw an article and I was like, okay. Again, very under the radar. I think it's the situation that you and I are very, very we're looking at this stuff through a microscope, kind of all day long, and for the most part, we would in the past probably would have, as kind of just fans and consumers or whatever, would have seen it maybe on its third iteration through the internet. So I can kind of see that it might be one of those things that'll start picking up a bit of steam with the information coming out now. But yeah, we'll keep you guys up to date on that one.
You want to talk about corporate buzzwords. I stumbled upon, and there's an article on amusementtoday.com that talks about this and says, Kilburn Live, in partnership with Fort Worth-based private investment company Goff Capital, a substantial shareholder of Kilburn Live, hired Charlie Keegan, former CEO of Main Event Entertainment, to head the new division. So this is kind of spread across several different venture capitalist firms and all this other stuff.
Are Hasbro even involved? I'm not even sure.
Exactly. They're just taking the licensing check. That's all they're doing.
That is an interesting point to make, though. It's the name of the guy who's going to be heading up this particular venture. Was it Charlie Keegan, did you say?
Charlie Keegan, yeah.
Yeah, so again...
Former CEO of Main Event Entertainment, so maybe that'll give us some idea of kind of what they've got.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? You get these kind of articles pop up, and then you're basically just Googling loads of things, like, what did this company do? But the Kilburn Live thing, they seem to be doing, they seem to do a lot of events, they seem to do a lot of kind of interactive kind of things with, audiences and things like that, but then also normal, concerts and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting, and that's another element, I suppose, that they could employ if they've got these kind of centers there. Then you've got maybe a built-in event center for events. You could see wrestling, Raw or SmackDown or something like that being hosted there, or possibly even musical performances. Depending on the size of these places and how many there are going to be. I'm interested to know where they're going to pop up.
Exactly, yeah. Are there going to be half a dozen of them in just the biggest cities, or are they going to be, it's a good question.
Well, anyway, we will keep you up to date with anything that crops up regarding this. But in the meantime, let's move on and quickly chat about a little update to the Hasbro Pawtucket story we gave to you a few weeks ago, or probably a week ago now. Last week, we discussed the news that Hasbro were orchestrating a possible move from their long-standing Pawtucket, Rhode Island HQ that we were only aware of due to a plea from the mayor, Donald Grebian, who demanded that something should be done to keep the toy company in the city. Hasbro explained that they were in the process of evaluating several options for contemporizing their corporate headquarters, including finding a new corporate campus in the vicinity of their current headquarters. According to a separate article posted in December of 2017 on the Go Local Prov website, it looked like Hasbro would be building a much larger and more imposing HQ in Providence, Rhode Island instead. And now news has surfaced that Hasbro are willing to meet with state officials regarding the proposed move away from Pawtucket. A spokesperson for Grebian's team, Wilder Arboleda, stated that Mayor Grebian's administration has made contact with both Hasbro and state officials who have all shown willingness to meet. The next step is to find a meeting time and date that works for everyone as the city looks to keep Hasbro here in Pawtucket. The current building has been described as outdated for the company's needs, but they haven't ruled out renovating the structure and staying there. Grebian has said that Hasbro is the city's greatest asset, and plans need to be put into place in order to keep them there. A train station and leisure complex looks to be a way to lure Hasbro into staying. Now, Justin, there seems to be a desperate need for the company to stay, at least from the city's point of view. Can you see Hasbro staying put now? I mean, what would their best option be in this current climate?
It's a tough call. I mean, it seems to me like the reason they're looking to leave Pawtucket isn't necessarily related to the fact that they don't like the city, but I think they really are looking to revamp their corporate headquarters. And if the infrastructure and the capacity just isn't there for them to do that in Pawtucket, I mean, in a lot of cases, in some cases you can take your existing property and just, upgrade it or whatever and make it suitable. But in some cases, you really do have to find a whole different property and kind of start at ground zero, build it up like you want it to be and kind of, start from scratch. And, I would imagine that'd be kind of tough to do in Pawtucket. Pawtucket's not a huge city. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. And you got to wonder just how much real estate there is there if Hasbro does want to move their offices without completely taking down their operations for a significant period of time, what their options really are. So, I don't know. I mean, it seems it's positive, I guess, for Pawtucket that Hasbro is willing to at least talk to them about it, but we'll have to see what comes of it.
When we looked at the incredible building they were looking to kind of renovate in Providence and kind of like build, that was a Superman building. They wanted to kind of like make it super Superman, I suppose. or like Batman versus Superman, they want to make it. Neither of which are owned by Hasbro, but they could. I mean, is this? It seems to me like that building they wanted to kind of build, or they wanted to kind of create, for this new HQ. It almost seems like a keeping up with the Joneses thing to me, and almost or in the sense of if they're trying to get into this entertainment kind of thing in a big way, they have to almost compete or even be bigger and bolder than what's out there. Do you know what I mean? Like it almost feels a little bit like that. Is it necessary especially since you've got rid of a ton of your workforce? Is it necessary to build something like this?
I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, obviously I don't know what goes on kind of behind the scenes at Hasbro, but if it really is kind of a, if we want to look like a major company, we've got to look the part. I don't know if that's really necessary. I don't think they need to do that, especially in ask anybody if they can point out the Hasbro HQ, and they probably can't. But you got to think from some angle, this is probably I hate to say show off or anything like that, but I mean they probably want a fancy corporate place. They probably at some point they are probably looking at a lot of their competitors and a lot of other folks around them and saying wow, we're in this industrial brick building, and all these people are in these high rise city plazas or whatever, that we should do that too. I don't personally think that's something they need to do, but perhaps they feel differently, and it's more ways than one. It's not just because they need new infrastructure. Maybe they really do want to put kind of a prettier face on their operations. And
just to kind of I suppose reiterate the case, the Pawtucket HQ has got most of the company is there,
I mean,
isn't it?
I think I pointed out at our last call that I thought the majority of the corporate offices were in Providence. I don't believe that's the case. I think I misspoke there. I think there's a few scattered departments in Providence, but the majority of Hasbro's operations is indeed in Pawtucket, and so any kind of move out of the city would be pretty significant at this point.
Yeah. So that it does kind of it is worth mentioning based on the fact that move would be massive for the company. Yeah, it's really interesting. And obviously there's again, we'll keep bringing you news as it comes in, but at the current state of play, Hasbro are meeting state officials and the mayor's office and so on and so forth. So they're going to be discussing, I suppose, a lot of these things like, I suppose it's going to be like pitched to us, why are we staying here, That's what it feels like. There was some talk of Hasbro being a little bit kind of, I don't know, like they were happy to kind of stay where they were when the baseball team moved in. the Paw Socks, I want to say that's what they were called. And they're going to be moving away in 2 more years. So that's kind of a bit of
Worcester.
So there's like I don't know, I suppose that was like a kind of kick in the nuts.
Yeah, you got to wonder what's going on in Pawtucket. These places are taking off. I don't know if it's just related to kind of the economy down there, but I could see why it would create a sense of desperation, because I got to think the Pawtucket Red Sox were a pretty big deal. I mean, I've been hearing about the Pawtucket Red Sox for years and years and years. So, I mean, they're a pretty well-known farm team for the Boston Red Sox. So
yeah, and then obviously good timing as well with the championship. But
exactly.
The nostalgia in me is wanting them to stay put. Like, I want them to stay in Pawtucket. I want to go and visit that place again. I want some, I want to be able to kind of like go there again, just again from a purely personal point of view and very selfish point of view. But at the same time, I think it would be really cool to have a massive building that had a beautiful campus just to kind of go and see, and I think that would be quite cool.
That would be very cool.
But anyway, we will keep you up to date with any of these goings on at Hasbro, as we have been doing. That's what the news bursts have basically turned into, Hasbro bursts. I think we're going to call them Hasbro bursts from now on.
Hasburst.
Hasbursts, yeah. Hasbursts.
Hasbreasts.
Breasts worsts. And then it turns into, breast. We'll do the news breasts next. Okay.
Justin, the SEO will really love that. That'll get some good search engine optimization going on.
Justin, thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Thank you to my wonderful co-host Justin Bell. See you next time, and as always, full force. I have nothing silly to say in that one. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of these platforms with feedback, questions, or to say, who do you think you are? A serious operation now? No, not even close. Look out for more of these news bursts that we are posting on the Facebook page from now on. Full Force.